Hey, my name is Liz Bills, and I am a full-time music teacher and a professional singer from Boston, Mass. For everyone that doesn't know who I am, um, I'm doing this video or vlog or whatever today because I want to talk about my experiences with muscle tension dysphonia and how I'm actually recovering from this disease or illness or whatever you want to call it. And I wanted to do this video because I feel like, especially when I was struggling a lot, or even sometimes I still struggle, I would go online and look for recovery stories or how someone overcame this mysterious dysphonia. And I couldn't never find them. So I wanted to do this video to let people and singers and teachers and voice users know that there's hope. And I basically have I'm not a great talker. I have a lot of pain-free days now, so it's been quite the journey. So I'm just trying to organize my thoughts here. So let me tell you my story. So I'm going to be 32 this month. When I was 27 years old, I started singing at Berklee College of Music. I was in I still am, a full-time rock and roll band with very intense, I love to sing power vocals, you know. So like stuff like that, which is intense, and my face is like this, and I'm jumping up and down, all sweating. And then I talk for a living, so I'm using my voice like this for children, like 3-4 hours a day. And so the pain set in, this intense burning when I'm talking, this intense burning when I'm singing. And I had just started teaching, so I'm a very quiet person. It might not seem that way in this video, but I'm very quiet. I'll talk like this. And I've been very, very shy my whole life. So when I started teaching, it was like all of a sudden I started using my voice all the time. And all of a sudden my voice was burning, especially in this right side. So what I did is I started at Boston Medical Center. I went to the ENT there. They scoped me and they said, oh, you have acid reflux and you're pre-polyp, which means if you think about your hands, if you do a lot of yard work, you might have these calluses. That actually means you have nodes on your voice, but I didn't have those. I had a blister. So that's like before you get the callus. I had some blisters on my voice. And he basically made me feel like a number, like he didn't care about me, just his mannerism. And he was like, here, you have acid reflux. I don't know what you're gonna do. You should change what you're doing because you're doing it wrong. And I was like, okay. And he tried to give me acid reflux pills, but I really didn't think I had that. And I don't like taking medication unless I really need to. So, I just said, I'll try the speech therapy. And so I hated Boston Medical Center's speech therapy because it was so disorganized. I felt like the speech therapist could barely ever schedule me. I would see her 1 week and then it would be 4 more weeks till I saw her again. And I just felt like I was getting nowhere and it was really sucky. And then my primary care doctor at the time told me, oh, maybe you have fibromyalgia. Maybe you should just change careers. And I had just met this primary care doctor that day, and I was shocked. I mean, I'm not telling this lady to change her career as a doctor where she went to school for 7 years. How could I change careers as a singer? Quite honestly, I'd rather kill myself, if I'm going to be brutally honest, than stop singing. I'd rather sing through with pain, which I had been doing for years. So I was very disappointed at this time about, the treatment I was getting, and I was really losing faith in Western medicine. So then, after that, I went to St. Elizabeth's Medical Center in Brighton, and then I got scoped again for a second opinion, and he scoped me and he said, "You have acid reflux." And quite honestly, I burst out crying right in the office. I made him feel super uncomfortable. And I was like, "That's not what I have. Please stop telling me I have acid reflux." He gave me the pills. I tried them for like a few weeks, and then I was like, "Ugh, I hate taking these pills. Why don't I change my diet instead?" Um, so I went vegan, I went gluten-free, I was food journaling, I went on vocal rest for weeks and weeks and weeks. I taught all of my lessons like this, so I would go to a lesson, and let me look it up. So talk to text, you would type in, and if I can find this, voice to text, say. I'm not gonna be able to find it right now, but like on my computer, I would be like typing in, thank God I'm a fast typer, because I'd be like, "Hi, how are you? Now can you put your hands on middle C, C, D, E, F, G?" And I would literally go to all of my 30 students and just talk like that. And when I went on tour, I would talk to my bandmates like that, when I wasn't singing, of course. It was ridiculous, but I was, trying so hard to figure out what was wrong with me on my own. None of that stuff worked. I think going on vocal rest really just made it worse. I went to doctors and got my chest and stomach x-rayed. I was put on a table, turned upside down. They're like, "Oh, you are refluxing." And I was like, "Oh, yay, we know what the problem is. I guess it is reflux." But it turns out everyone refluxes. So then I was back to square one. And then they put me under anesthesia. They went down into my stomach and looked around. Everything's great. And I was actually upset by that. I'm like, well, then what's wrong with me? So that was my experiences there. And now, what changed everything was finally, I think, 4 years into this pain. At this point in time, I had gotten very used to the pain. In the beginning, I was very angry, very upset. I would teach lessons and have so much pain. I would be crying at the end of every day, just an intense burning inside my throat. Every gig I went to was awful. Like, I'd have to run right home after the gig. Singing was no longer fun. Talking was no longer fun. I had to leave parties because my voice hurt so freaking bad. And it's just a very lonely thing, because a lot of people don't understand this. Like, how can you not talk? How can you not socialize? How can you not sing, Nobody has voice pain like this, and especially doesn't know what it is. So it was a very sad, sad time. But then over the years, I started accepting it. So the pain was like an old friend. It would come in every day to my throat. I'd be like, okay, whatever, I'm used to it. I started eating like 10, 15 cough drops per day as a crutch to get me through the days. And as long as I had my cough drops, I would be okay. So that was a big thing in my life, cough drops. So what changed my life was Dr. Burns at, where is Dr. Burns? Dr. Burns at, 1 second. It's not Boston Medical Center. Dr. Burns, where are you? It's where I was born. Why can't I remember this? Mass General Hospital. So, Dr. Burns, I knew for a long time, was a doctor that is one of the best ENT doctors in the world, at least I think, because his patients consist of Adele. She got her vocal surgery there. Julie Andrews got her surgeries to try to fix a botched surgery in New York that she had a long time ago, which ruined her career. Cher was there, John Mayer, Steven Tyler. When you go into Dr. Burns' office, you'll see all of these signed posters and thank you notes for Dr. Burns, saving these amazing singers and really helping them. So I was very excited. I finally changed my insurance and went to Dr. Burns, which I should have done in the first place. And they scoped me, and right away they said, "You have muscle tension dysphonia." And I was like, oh my God, a diagnosis that is not acid reflux. And so the definition of muscle tension dysphonia is it's one of the most common voice disorders. It occurs when the muscles around the voice box or larynx are so tight during speaking that the voice box does not work efficiently. So hallelujah, I was so happy to have that diagnosis. And then they assigned me to a speech therapist who specializes in singing. And this speech therapy was drastically different than Boston Medical Center. It was very organized. They said I had to come every week at the same time. And I just felt more special when I went in to see my speech therapist. She would ask me a lot of personal questions. I felt like a real person, like I was cared for and listened to, which was a huge problem. I felt like a lot of the doctors before were just laughing at me or thinking I was making a big deal about nothing, not listening to me. And so this was much better care, just high quality care. So I would go in every week, and I want to show you my favorite exercise. I use a straw. Of course, I'm unprepared and don't have a straw. So pretend I have a straw. And so this exercise I use every day. I use it with my students in voice lessons. And we started retraining my speaking voice. So I would blow into the straw. Ooh, and see how vibraty that is if you pretend I have a straw. Ooh. Hi, my name is Liz. Ooh. How are you doing today? And I would do this kind of thing. I would practice it for 10, 20, 30 minutes a day. Sometimes in my lessons, I would just be like, my kids are young enough to not really care. Sometimes they would laugh and try to do it too. So I'd be like, ooh. Okay, now place your hands on the piano. Ooh, very good job. And I would reset my voice. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I'm not really having pain. And so for a while I would just carry around the straw and just be like a crazy person. And I didn't want to let go of the straw. And my speech therapist was like, Liz, you can't walk around for the rest of your life with a straw. And I was like, oh, okay. So, and then another favorite one I loved was in singing, they gave me this one. It's a sniff exercise. And I would do the scales, and then the closure for my vocal folds was much healthier and it felt easier. So those are probably like my two favorite speech therapy exercises. And in the straw, ooh, la 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 la. Like I could do the straw and then I could sing and it would feel better. So I was having a great time in speech therapy, but after a few months I still was feeling pain. So the therapist was like, well, there's got to be something else wrong here. And I was like, damn it, what could it be? And so she was like, maybe you should go to a chiropractor and see if it's muscle related. So I went to Mark Messenger Chiropractic, who's amazing, in Haverhill, Mass. And right away he was like, you should get an x-ray of your neck. And I was like, oh yes, because other doctors would just laugh at me because I'm a young woman and why would I x-ray my neck? Old people do that, or people with injuries like car accidents or whatever. So I got the x-ray and he was like, oh my gosh, you have arthritis in your neck. So hallelujah, like another diagnosis. I'm getting closer and closer to what the hell is going on. Okay, so now we know we have arthritis. Why do I have arthritis? Because of the muscle tension. So what has happened to my body over the years is my shoulders started rounding forward, my back is weak, the muscles in the front are tightening up, and then it sends a signal to my brain, and the brain is saying, Liz is in pain, tense the muscles to protect her. And then they tense them, and then the signal goes to the brain, Liz is in pain, tense the muscles to protect her. More tension. So then there's this cycle happening. So then I started going to Mark Messenger 3 times a week to adjust my joints, get them moving again, adjust this posture, get everything moving and down and back so I'm not rounded forward, to break this cycle. And so I saw a messenger for like 6 months, 3 times a week, which is exhausting, but you do what you gotta do. And then the next step was physical therapy. So in order to keep, I need better posture. So I was rounding and, it was no good. So then the next step was to, start doing this kind of work, rolling the shoulders back, checking the alignment, standing like Superwoman, stretching for like 10-15 minutes every day, stretching out the neck, and then physical therapy. So strength training. So 3 times a week I would start, grabbing like my these rubber bands, and I would pull them back and squeeze my back together, pull them back. And so I would start to get a strong back, which can help support everything and have better alignment. Or you can do this kind of thing and then squeeze your back and just, work on really strength training those back muscles, and even strength training the stomach for the lower back. And that was the physical side of it. So then the next step I had to do, which I really didn't want to do, was change my workouts. So I'm a recovered eating disorder person. I had bulimia, which I no longer have, thank God. And I would just always do these intense workouts, and I kind of was never able to really give that aspect of it up. And that was also contributing to the pain. So against my will, I started doing yoga. I stopped doing the intense like hour runs and all of that, and really replaced it with like slow, gentle, kind practices of breathing, of stretching, of really self-love, like within my workouts. And that took me a whole year to start enjoying. So this is definitely was a process. But now I love yoga, and I quit the YMCA and I joined a yoga studio. I do yoga with Adrienne on YouTube. I highly recommend that. She's amazing. And so I guess, and then the next step was, there's an emotional side to like all this pain and stuff. Every time I would get stressed, I would start feeling more burning pain. So there was an emotional side to this muscle tension dysphonia. So then I started going to a therapist and talking about my feelings, maybe like being more aware. Maybe I'm tensing muscles, which I was, and I didn't notice, tensing my face, kind of like holding it all day. So I started seeing the therapist, letting go of things. Meditating was like what she would give me as homework to do. A lot of deep breathing, trying to relax, which is very tough for me. But, surprisingly, through letting go and relaxing and meditating and doing yoga, I would just naturally like feeling healthier. I was always worried I would gain weight, but I'm honestly thinner. I'm like letting go of weight through emotion, I'm not holding on to this weight anymore. So I can't believe it, like how great it made me feel after, really trying for a year to change basically my life and how I was doing things. Okay, and now we're down to the last thing, vocal retraining with my vocal coach, Aliana Di LaGuardia in Haverhill, Mass. She's incredible. She has a degree at the conservatory in Boston. And, for a while I was like, I'm a great singer, I know it all. That's not the case. I had terrible technique. I was using my throat for everything, screaming up to those notes and just destroying my voice, Singing is athletic, but it shouldn't feel like someone like put your voice through like a chainsaw or something by the time you're done singing. So I started retraining, and retraining is a slow process, just like all of this. And as Americans, we just want that quick fix. We want a pill, we want a shot, we just want to be better. And so this is what, my road to recovery, that was like the hardest part, patience and persistence. I just wanted to be better, but I started seeing the vocal coach 2 years ago now, and it was just a slow retraining process, and an incredible journey, and that was the final piece. So let's recap. What is healing muscle tension dysphonia? Number 1, fixing poor posture with alignment checks and strength training. So, it's going through life more with great posture, having a strong back, a strong core. Number 2, eliminating stress and anxiety from my life through meditation, yoga, therapy, being kind to myself, not expecting too much, learning how to relax, and living a happier and easier lifestyle. Number 3, retraining my voice. That was a big part of it. Retraining my singing voice and speaking voice. And I think number 4, we can tack on trying to be happy no matter what. So, okay, sometimes I have pain. I can choose to be happy still. If I don't have pain, I can also be happy. Because it can be scary to lose the pain and be like, I'm feeling so good. Should I, feel good? Because will it last? But who cares? Let's just be happy. And I'm going to wrap up the video now. And I haven't had any cough drops for a while now. Honestly, still carry them around because I'm afraid of this new feeling of being pain-free. Like, it seems strange. But no cough drops, tons of pain-free days. I just spoke for 21 minutes. No burning pain, maybe a slight burning. Very, very, very slight because I haven't warmed up or anything. But I'm healing, and I didn't think I ever would. And you can too if you have muscle tension dysphonia. You should really try to go through some of these steps, like ask yourself, is it emotional? Maybe it's a bunch of things. Maybe it's my posture. Maybe I'm expecting too much from myself. Maybe I have some issues I need to work through. Maybe I have to retrain my voice, Maybe I have to fight for the right doctor. Maybe I have to keep searching and never giving up. Find someone who listens to me, So there's lots of different things. And you can feel free to email me, lizbills1@gmail.com, if you have any questions or want to talk about this. I have a lot of insight, been going through it for 5 years. So there's hope for muscle tension dysphonia peeps out there. It's possible to use your voice for a living, a heavy voice user they call them, and not have pain, to live a good, healthy, pain-free life. I love you, and I hope this reaches even just one person and helps. Okay, bye.